我小学的时候没有办法进入公办的学校，我只能在外来务工子弟打工学校读书。然后之后呢，我也是遭到了本地老师，就是上海老师的歧视、辱骂，然后还有当地学生他是不会和外地学生一起玩。对，然后其实最大的一点就是很没有自信心，然后没有归属感。
Linlin grew up in Shanghai but always felt like an outsider in the city. She was actually born in a rural village in Henan province, which her family left behind when she was only 2.
当时年幼的我就在想，为什么就是别人会给我贴上外地人、乡下人的标签？那么回到老家，我又是听不懂当地的方言，没有办法跟当地人交流，又是他们口中的大城市来的孩子，那么当时的我就在困扰我的问题就是，那我到底是属于哪里的人？对，是。
Because of where she was born, Lin didn't have access to the same educational resources that her urban-born peers enjoyed. It's all thanks to a controversial long-standing policy, the Hukou system. The policy was established in the 1950s to track and control movement, as the government didn't want big cities to be overpopulated.
Hukou is almost functioning as if it is a passport, which allows you from one part of the country to move to another part of the country. And in order to settle down as a permanent resident and being treated as local citizens, you have to have the passport or Hukou registration.
It was also designed as a tool to better help central planners allocate resources.
If you are not a local citizen, you cannot have access to good quality public school for your children. Your child cannot take national exam. You cannot have access to social housing. It is difficult for you to get full pension coverage as well. I think Hukou policy in a nutshell is discriminatory and it's inefficient.
Until recently, rural Hukou holders weren't even allowed to move freely outside their hometowns. It was only in 2003 that the Chinese government abolished the policy that allowed local authorities to arrest and evict migrant workers in the cities. But many rural families, like Lin's, still choose to relocate to cities for better opportunities, even though they aren't entitled to the same benefits as their peers.
然后我们每年都是在搬家，我们来上海20多年，我们搬家不低于20次。然后曾经我们一家5口就居住在我后面这个蓝色的集装箱，类似于这样的集装箱里面，大概的平方是18个平方，然后我们一家5口住在里面。然后曾经这边是布满了集装箱的房子，然后很多人居住在这边，我们大概是10户人家会共用1个水龙头。
Lin eventually decided to give up on her high school education so she could stay with her family in Shanghai. But more and more young people are now being sent back to their rural towns, far away from their parents, in order to finish their studies. Xiao Yankong was born in a rural area in Anhui. Her family moved to Shanghai when she was 1 month old.
就我在初2的时候，需要回到我的原籍安徽去接受教育。那么在跟父母一起生活了14、15年之后，需要跟他们突然的进行这样的一个分离，然后回到一个完全陌生的环境，跟我奶奶在一起，然后是在一个村子里面，一个比较孤单的这样的一个状况，你都不知道去跟谁去交流、去诉说，去解开一些这个疑惑吧。通常我们被叫做这个留守儿童。
It's estimated that there are about 170 million students affected by these policies.
I would say that the population that pays the largest social price, the brunt, right, of migration is definitely young people. First, they may not have decided, and I doubt that they actually influence their family's decision to migrate. Parents migrate for a better life for their children, but that's different from children saying, I want us to move or I do not want us to move.
The Hukou system has been loosened in recent years, allowing movement to smaller cities to fill job vacancies. But this isn't the case for larger cities. Experts say reform has been painfully slow.
There have been a lot of efforts trying to change the system, but it's always difficult. What the main problem now is that the social welfare entitlement are attached to Hukou. The reform that needs to be done is to detach them. So allow resources to be allocated according to where people are, rather than where people from.
I think the difficulties now is the Chinese elite have obviously their interests, right? When you think about who would not want Hukou reform, the obvious answer would be those who have privileged Hukous right now. Are they willing to share their social resources with people that don't have that Shanghai Hukou or Beijing Hukou? I think this is a moment for not just the government to set policies that set a moral tone, but for citizens of China to really consider what is a commitment to equality.
Hi，打个招呼。
Back in Shanghai, Ling is now married to a local resident, which means she can apply for Shanghai Hukou. But she says it's no longer a priority.
我今年29岁，我大概是37岁才能拿到上海户口。对目前的我来讲，没有任何意义。我觉得那个创伤已经发生了，是没有办法再去修补。但有幸我的童年遇到了很好的老师，还有我的小伙伴们，所以我的童年其实除了户口制度带来的伤害之外，我还是很幸福。